Okay, third slash fourth and final question for this little mini series. um, I've been working on this like pretty huge project that I call my 1,000 cards of gratitude. Um, I've got my first set ready to sell right here. Many sets, I guess, actually. I thought this was gonna be a really easy project, and it hasn't been at all, but I guess life never is. Um, so it started last November when I was super, 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 super depressed and sick and was not working. And I think there's a lot of grief coming up around the fact that a lot of my cohort, they have their licenses now and they're all, practicing therapy and are fucking rocking it. If you guys are out there, love you. But it was kind of hard to come to this realization that my brain was not in a space to do that. And as an art therapist, I have been gathering materials for years. As an artist and an art therapist, I guess. So, just like free stuff off Craigslist, gifts from friends, things that like people just like didn't want to use, kind of donation based. But I've been collecting and hoarding materials for a really long time, and I was always telling myself like I will be ready to start seeing clients and I will have materials for them to use. So I'd always kind of reserved it for clients. But I think it hit me that I wasn't going to be able to practice in the way that I wanted to practice. So I decided, like, fudge it. I've got all of these materials. I've got hella paper. I've got paint. Like, I just want to start doing something with them. And gratitude is a practice that I try to do every day. It's, sometimes really hard. Um, but every year for Christmas, I don't personally celebrate, but my family does. I was raised by an older generation, and so every year for the holidays, after getting gifts from people, I would hand make my own thank you note cards and then send them back. I'm realizing nowadays that that's not like a standard thing to do, is sending thank you note cards. But I think it feels really good. And yeah, it would always take me like a month or two. They generally get them in February. But it was, I don't know, this idea of sitting down and being able to make something for someone as a thanks and then to send that thanks back to them. It always felt really good. And so I was inspired to make a bunch of thank you note cards. I guess this project is it's multifold. It's hard to talk about. My ADHD brain goes, so I'm like trying to pull it together. So I guess it was around the holiday season that I started this project. I got it in my head that I wanted to make 1,000, because one of my clients, when I was working at the agency last year, she was basically abandoned by her parents and stuck inside. Like stuck for way longer than she needed to be if her parents had just come to pick her up. And the way that she coped was making origami cranes. And by the time I had arrived at this position, she had made, I want to say, like over 1,000 origami cranes and like decorated their wing of the inpatient unit with these cranes. And it was an absolutely stunning and beautiful, I guess, like sublimation of her feelings. It gave her something to do. It was bilateral stimulation, working with both of her hands, so she was able to work through and process a lot, but also the attention to detail and the colors and the way they were placed was just so inspiring. That someone could be in such a position and yet create so much beauty out of all of their pain. And honestly, I was inspired by this person. And I wanted to turn all of this pain and this grief and this suffering that I've been experiencing, I wanted to turn it into something beautiful. And I wanted to share that with the world. and invite people in. Um, and yeah, um, every single card is inspired by my favorite band. I will say that. Band name is Goose. If you haven't heard of them, check them out. They're a jam band. No two shows are the same. They have grown really big over the last several years since I first saw them in 2018, I think. 2019 maybe? Anywho, I have a deep love and appreciation for them, and their music, I don't know, makes me feel at home, makes me feel love, makes me feel loved. And it just feels really good to listen to it, and seeing how many people have kind of flocked to the flock over the last many years, seeing that many people love them too, and seeing the love that they put out in the universe, it really inspired me as well. So like, even if I'm in my darkest funk, I can put on a show from this band and magically, I guess, transmute all that negativity into something lighter, into something positive. Or even if it's just a little bit of a reprieve from my depression for however long I'm listening to the music, like, I'll take it. Because sometimes that's the tiniest yet biggest grace we can give ourselves, is just taking a break from all the shit. So it was my intention. I've been like systematically and ritually listening to every single show they have out on Nugs. It's just something I love doing. I love hearing every show. I love hearing the evolution of the band. And so in my like trying to catch up on listening to all of my shows, I decided to also incorporate that into this project. And so every time I would sit down to make a set of cards, I guess I'll like show you some of them. I would listen to one of their shows, and so it was a mindful / moving meditation on gratitude. I wanted to put all that love that I have for this band and all the love they have into all of the work. So yeah, like, this set is called the Western Sunset. It's named after one of their songs. But yeah, I tried to choose colors and schemes that resonated with me and resonated with the music that I was listening to transmute all of that positivity and put it into something beautiful and something that can be shared. Each one of these, so like, no, it's not perfect paper. And like, you'll see like little marks on them every once in a while. Like, no, they're not the most perfect pieces of art, but I'm realizing I'm human. We're only human. We can't be perfect because we're human. If we were perfect, we wouldn't be human. So they're kind of twofold cards. Some of them are just like flat cards. Some of them like are folded, have backs. But they're also meant to be little works of art. So when you're writing your thank you note card to whoever it is, you're not just thanking them with your words, but you're thanking them with a little gift. They're all suitable for framing, I'll say that. And yeah, there's various different sizes. So I've got like 3x5, 4x6s, and then 5x7s. And I have like over 500 of these cards made at this point, but instead of waiting for them all to be ready to go, and like, it's been really hard trying to put this together to put on the internet to sell them. So I'm just gonna get them out in batches. So I'll have the first batch up later today, is my goal. But yeah, that is a little bit more about this. Oh, and I guess the final thing. I love this community for this band so much. I always wondered, like, what can a community this large do, like, for good, right? Since they get a lot of visibility. And it turns out that uh, community members of fans of this band, created their own nonprofit. It is called the Western Sun Foundation, and they are like an advocacy and like fundraising group is kind of how I see it, where they try and like raise awareness and raise funds for local organizations in towns where the band tours. So it's kind of all over the country. They're trying to support places all over the country. And I was just so touched and moved by that. And being unemployed and not being able to actually give money to this organization. And like, I've done some like volunteer applications, see if there's anything local to my area that would be great. However, this project also felt like one way that I could give back, to the band and to the community that I love and adore so much. So 50% of all proceeds from this project are going to go to the Western Sun Foundation. So I think that answers the question, and if not, I'll make another video. Okay, thanks. Bye.